What's going on, guys? This is Revolution Ricky here at Casa de Revolution, doing a video that's not a normal video. It's to showcase some of my favorite African American artists. Um, a viewer wanted me to do one of these videos, so I decided to go ahead and do it. And this is my personal favorites. Like I say in other videos, y'all have your personal favorites. I have mine. So sit back, relax, have a cold beverage or a diet beverage or a cup of coffee, whatever is your forte of drinking. And without further ado, let's get on with it. Well, I'm going to go back, way back, way back to not the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, not the 60s, not the 50s, not even the 40s. I'm going back to the 1930s with this one. And this man has been called the godfather of rock and roll. You have the godfather of soul, which is James Brown. You have the king of pop, which I'll showcase later. And you have this gentleman who really was taken from us way too soon. He'd be in the triple digits if he were alive. He's one of the greatest blues musicians of all time. And the way I've heard about this man was I saw a movie back in the 80s with Ralph Macchio. And the co-lead was Jamie Gertz and John Sinke. Cena. Sika. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. It's not John Cena. Joe Cena. Probably is his name. Joe Sinka or whatever. It's how I heard about this individual who was given the title the godfather of rock and roll, but one of the greatest blues musicians that ever lived. Here's the movie, Crossroads. And no, this is not that Britney Spears garbage that came out in the 2000s. My era, there's only one Crossroads, especially this one. And this is kind of a classic DVD cover where you had the video sticking out. VHS ain't made anymore. Wish I had the VHS, but I love this movie. It goes into the mytho of the legend of what he did at the Crossroads. I'm talking about one of the greatest blues musicians that ever lived, Robert Johnson. He is my favorite blues musician of all time. And I can pop this in. You can hear the cracks of the records that were burned. Basically, they were race records to capitalize on the blues music of the time because it was very popular. And his legend, what he did at the Crossroads and how he learned to play guitar. It was just so... I've never heard anything like it. And Robert Johnson has influenced so many artists back in the 60s, like the Rolling Stones, a little bit of the Beatles, a little bit, you hear it in The Who, Led Zeppelin. They did music from, they made Traveling Willow-Side Blues, their own version, but you can hear it in Love in Vain when the Rolling Stones did that. You can hear it from Cream, who did Crossroads, and Eric Clapton, to the, he did Me and Mr. Johnson, the tribute album, which is a phenomenal album. But for me, you got to go back to the beginning, and this is the beginning. Without this man, you wouldn't have current music as it is. So it has. I have another copy of this somewhere, but I forgot where I put it. So I just ordered the other one, and it's like a long box set. I mean, it's nothing major. It's just a little card right here, and his songs. Whether he had 30 songs, I'll never know, nor do I care. But with me, with Robert Johnson, you can't go wrong with this gentleman. I mean, some of the songs on here are Kind-Hearted Woman, Rambling on My Mind, Sweet Home Chicago, which is a personal favorite, being from Chicago, and now I live in Alabama. You got Crossroad Blues, which, is a personal favorite. In fact, that's kind of like the theme for the movie I just showed you. But Robert Johnson is one of my favorite blues musicians of all time. And this is just the complete recordings. Also got this CD right here, which is the complete collection. It's not like this. I actually prefer this one over this one any day of the week. And you can't go wrong with this gentleman. He's one of the best. His songs are legendary. So if I had a choice between this one or this one would win out. Not to say this one ain't good. It's just that when I was in my 20s, I wanted this album, and I got it for Christmas one year. This is a replacement copy that I had gotten. So I prefer this one over this one. And to stick with the theme from that movie, one of the lines is another one of my favorite blues musicians. They say Benjamin Franklin invented electricity. Well, that's true. But so did Muddy Waters. I love this one. It kind of looks like that one I have. But, I love Muddy Waters. He influenced a lot of electric blues players himself. The Rolling Stones. There's a film from years and years ago, probably it was in the 80s, where members of the Rolling Stones showed up at Muddy Waters Club, and they did some songs with him. But this one's a good album. I like it. It's a compilation. I don't have any Muddy Waters albums, but I do have this, and it does it does stick with you. And some of the songs, I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man, I Can't See Too Good, Sad Sad Day, or Sad Sad Guy. I ain't got the lights on. Train Fare Home Blues. That's a good one. Lonesome Road Blues. I'm sorry, my eyes are not good, and I don't want to turn the light on because I can't really see. But this is a good album. Well, maybe if I opened it, this doesn't do it any better. And of course, it's got 2 CDs, or no, 3 CDs. Excuse me, it's 3 CD set, which is a good compilation. I highly recommend this one. Keeping with that theme, from going to the blues is another one of my favorite blues artists, the one and only B.B. King. Love this CD. I gave it to a friend of mine, but she moved away. I don't know where she's at. I mean, I know she's in town, but it's got the classic song, The Thrill Is Gone, Why I Sing the Blues, How Blue Can You Get, which is a favorite of mine. Excited, Changing Things with Carole King on piano. It's a very good album. I don't have many B.B. King albums with me, but this one is one of the first blues album CDs I've ever bought. I think I bought it for Big Lots for like $5 when they were selling music in cassettes, where you get them at closeout stores. And I picked this one up, and Jackal's Push Comes to Shove. But I love this album. So this is a good album. Keeping with that, we're going to go with another favorite of mine. This guy revolutionized electric guitar. I'm talking about the one and only, my favorite guitar player, number one, Jimi Hendrix. Live at Woodstock, 1969. Has the introduction, has Fire, Voodoo Child, has, of course, the Star Spangled Banner, which Jimi Hendrix played, Purple Haze, Hey Joe, which is a classic, and I think in my pile of records, let me look. I don't think I tried looking for it earlier. No. But I also have the Jimi Hendrix Experience Smashed Hits, which is somewhere in my record thing. I have to hunt it up. But Jimi Hendrix is one of my favorite guitar players of all time. I can't get enough of him. So I love Jimi Hendrix. And speaking of Jimi Hendrix, might as well keep going with this one. The Jimi Hendrix Experience, Electric Ladyland. And of course, I've got 2 vinyl records of Are You Experience? It's a repress. And the one I just mentioned, the Jimi Hendrix Experience Smashed Hits. I mean, this one's a great album. It's got Voodoo Child, some of the classic Hendrix albums you would love. Of course, Voodoo Child has 2 different versions on this. Have you ever been to Electric Ladyland? Crosstown Traffic, which is good track. But Jimi Hendrix, I really do love. He's one of the best guitarists of all time. For doing what he did, he must have been pretty out there. So it's here's just some of the things, popular. I've seen this video, this portrait before on some hit album compilations of Jimi Hendrix, but I would like to get all Jimi Hendrix albums. I mean, not the compilations, but the albums that he did put out during his short time on this earth. I mean, you got some lyrics. It's a real good album, and I really love it. And I mean, you got this. Oh, it's a double CD set. I'll pick that up later. But I love Jimi Hendrix. So, with that, might as well go down to this guy. This guy, oh boy. I'm going to show this off. I have many of his albums, and this one, I guess, is his second CD, the second album, and it's one of my favorites. He didn't really get too famous until a certain album. I'm talking about the one and only The artist, the man, the myth, the legend, Prince. This one is a good album. It's got I Want to Be Your Lover. It's got the I Feel For You, which Shaka Khan actually did a rendition of that back in the 80s, which really became more famous than the one on here. It's, you can't go wrong with Prince. And I've got Prince 45 somewhere, probably in these boxes back here. Of course, it's got the lyric sheet. And now this came out pretty much back in the 70s. And then he decided to do other, I got other types of music. I got the Batman soundtrack, which he did in '89. I had 2 copies of Purple Rain, but they got destroyed, and I don't know where they're at, and I'm not going to hunt them up. I also got some 45s of Kiss and Mountains from the Under the Cherry Moon movie, which was completely horrendous. But besides that, I also got his album, which I think is one of the reasons the PMRC was invented. And no, it's not Purple Rain. This is on vinyl. Dirty Mind. And trust me, this album is raunchy to say the least. I played it a couple days ago just to get a new feel for it. And still in shrink. I couldn't believe when I found this album in shrink that it was very cheap price. So I picked it up I think about 5 years ago. No, right around the time he had passed away. I had always wanted this album because my cousin had it on cassette and played it like you wouldn't believe. So, here's the hymn, and here's the insert, and the vinyl record is just absolutely phenomenal. I played it only a couple times, and here's the band with Lisa and Dr. Funk and the other 2 guys. I don't know. Dr. Fink. Sorry. I don't know who the other 2 gentlemen are. I know one of them was in the Prince movie for like 5 seconds. And he was in Prince's band up until the time 1999 came out. And I have that on vinyl too. It is in my house, but the cover is split in 2, and the records are on one side and the other. But Prince has always been a favorite of mine. And it's been a favorite of my family, my cousins, my sister. My cousin Lori loved Prince. I remember her and her mom bringing the movie when they had visited into the 80s, bringing Purple Rain in on video, and we had rented a VCR. And this was back in the 80s when VCRs, you can go to any store and rent them for like a night, and you'd have to bring it back in the morning. I would sneak in. I was like maybe 14 or 15. I would sneak into the room, get the movie, watch it again, because I really loved it, especially some parts of Apollonia, because I had a big major crush on Apollonia when I was younger. But keeping along with Prince, I might as well go ahead and show this one off. This is one and is my favorite Prince album of all time. It's a very good album. My aunt bought this for me on cassette back in the day. I still have it in one of these boxes. And I got the CD somewhere. I couldn't find it. I didn't feel like dragging it out. But it's my favorite Prince album of all time, because it's diverse. Around the World in a Day. Has a classic song, Raspberry Beret, Pop Life, the title track, Around the World in a Day. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. I bought this at the regular store too for very, very cheap. And it was, it's a gatefold. So go ahead and show that off. The record, the seam is a little bit split. And it comes in this little plastic thing. And the record is very, 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 it has a few dings here and there, but what record don't? But this is one of my favorite Prince albums of all time. Around the World in a Day. And, with good reason, because, for a while there was thinking that Prince, and I gotta grab it. Forgive me. This artist and him were at war. Let me see if I can find the CD. Yeah, here it is. Of course, I've got other albums by this artist, but this artist, everybody back in school wanted this album back in 1982. And he is the legendary King of Pop, Michael Jackson. Thriller. Love this one. Asked for it when I was like 12 or 13 years old for Christmas one year and got it. It's a good CD. I love the, it has all the sheets on here. And my wife has a updated copy of this album somewhere. I can't really find it. It's probably in her collection. Of course, my sister has the E.T. albums where he did the narration for E.T. And this was on high on everybody's Christmas list because it sold many, many copies. And of course, with that being said, not only do I have it on CD, I got it on cassette somewhere. Also got it. This is the original pressing of Thriller. This is my copy from 1982. Of course, it's a gatefold in that white suit, which he never wore again. I guess he just wore it for the photo shoot. And this record has been through a lot. Still have it. Don't have the insert. Got torn and shredded, and I don't know where it's at. It's got all the scratches and all the dings in it. This album got played and played and played back in the 80s. It is original pressing. It had the hype sticker, which told you millions of albums sold. They played it in school. My teacher would get the record player out and play it in school. I really love this album. And of course, Beat It, Eddie Van Halen did that song. Beat It, the guitar. And, it's got The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney, Thriller, Billie Jean, Human Nature, PYT, The Lady in My Life. I mean, there was a lot of singles on this album that were released, but 2. And I loved the album. It's a great album. And of course, I got the little 45 of State of Shock, which he did a rendition with his brothers, with Mick Jagger, back in the 80s, because him and his brothers were going to go out on tour to do a reunion tour. But I had loved this album. It's, like I said, it's been through a lot. I mean, I still play it. Still sounds good, even though it's got all the cracks and dings in it you ever want to love when you put on a record. So, this was high on the list. Michael Jackson's Thriller. Last but not least, this is kind of a African American. It's an African American singer. And I picked this up for relatively cheap too. I really respected the band. They have a good sound. It's kind of more or less rock and roll, alternative rock, not guitar laden like what I'm used to, but Hootie and the Blowfish. Darius Rucker is a phenomenal vocalist, phenomenal player. He does country music. He does this band. I mean, it has, you know, the classic song, Only Want to Be With You, which is one of my personal favorites. Like I said, I bought this for relatively cheap. I think I bought it for like $3 to $5. And here's the spread, the C spread, and that right there, and band shot of the band, and shot of the band on this. People probably, well, back at home where I used to live, Ricky never listened to Hootie and the Blowfish. I go, well, shows you what you know. So, always didn't like them. Never said I did. But I do. I like them a lot. And this is a great album. Well, that's all I've got as far as African American artists are concerned. You know, oh, here's the CD of this, but it's cracked to hell and back. Will Smith, Big Willie style. Probably have to get a new one because it's torn to shreds. I always like getting jiggy with it. And what other song is on there? So we saw it. Oh God, the Miami. You know, Will Smith, of course, Fresh Prince. Back in the 80s, had that Parents Don't Understand, and had another song called Summertime, which came out in the early 90s, which was a good song, but really got famous as an actor. You know, his movies, you know, of course, the TV series Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He did the first Independence Day movie. He did the first Suicide Squad movie. And he had done a lot of other films. Of course, the Pursuit of Happiness, which he plays a stockbroker. And he's played so many very good characters. And then, of course, the slap heard around the world at the award ceremony where he slapped Chris Rock. I thought it was a joke, but guess it wasn't. But anyway, that's all the African American artists that I do have. I got more here somewhere, and probably I'll do an updated video of that. I just wanted to come on here and show off some of my favorite African American artists that I do love. And, well, we went back to the 30s from the 30s to 50s, 70s, 80s, and 90s on these. And the early 2000s. But mostly from the 30s to the 90s in that genre. Well, this is Revolution Ricky, signing off. Keep spinning those vinyls and those CDs. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.